Welcome back to another great, amazing, cool old episode of the We Talk Words Good podcast. I am Jaquil, or David, from KR Retro Figures, is my toy channel.
I am a Man or Eden from Eden's Figure Collection. And today we're going to be getting into a topic related to the Galaxy Hole, which is a rabbit hole of knockoffs of the Galaxy Warriors toy line.
We are both huge fans of this. We both have many different figures from many different stretches of this rabbit hole. We've both made videos on our channels about figures from it. And we've made episodes of this podcast about it, so we're very knowledgeable.
Yes, and in this episode, we are going to be talking about how many of the biggest and just a large amount of these toy lines in the Galaxy Hole might actually be made by the same toy company, and we have evidence to suggest that this is true. So we're going to start with Galaxy Heroes and Muscle Warriors. Now, Galaxy Heroes and Muscle Warriors, I think most people who know a lot about these knockoffs and bootlegs know that these are very most likely made by the same company.
Not
This
even
is
very most likely. They're almost. It's like a 99 point whatever the closest is to 100% certainty that these
that's
are.
99.9 repeating.
Yeah, that these are connected. Like it has the very tiny minuscule chance that they're not, which I don't even know if that minuscule chance exists.
Yeah. So,
Point is
basically, what?
Point is they're the same.
Yeah. Galaxy Heroes has actually all of the standard Muscle Warriors figures released in the toy line. And there are many similarities with characters and lots of different stuff.
Yeah, so there's also inside of Galaxy Heroes, there's the China variants, which are like these kind of very crappy versions of like this. It's the same molds, but like really weird and not well put together. And they say China on the back or nothing on the back rather than Hong Kong.
And those figures would be typically released on a card that says "Made in China." Now, Muscle Warriors figures released in Galaxy Heroes also had a Made in China card with a slight differences. Whereas regular Galaxy Heroes figures would be on cards that say "Made in Hong Kong," as well as, of course, the figures.
Yeah, and there's also this super extremely rare variant of Galaxy Heroes that have these completely different molds that actually come in to this again in the near future. So now there's also another big line in the Galaxy Hole is Combo. Combo had many different variants. There's ones that had different like leg molds. Actually, seemingly is the most common variant, or the most common difference between variants is like what the
Yes.
leg like.
Yeah, there's your standard combo legs. There's squatting legs. You got a star belt figure. You got long legs. You have pants, star belt figures. You also have like these kind of like blow molded combo figures, what they were released as.
Yeah,
Many versions. Obviously, that barely even touches on them. But
the biggest of these variants is Combo Hero, which is they are just a complete overhaul, like complete difference. They have different head molds, which is I don't think that's in any other variant. Is it?
um, combo figure might have different head molds and
Maybe Combo Figure, which I've barely even heard of. But yeah, Combo Hero has these completely different and weird head molds. And they have this other body, which is what I was just talking about in Galaxy Heroes. So there's a Galaxy Hero variant that has the same body as Combo Hero, and the art style and sculpt style of the heads is also like identical. So
I actually just now realized something about these that I didn't even notice before. That's actually really uh, interesting. and connect something to this podcast episode that we didn't even have planned. That's right, another toy line. You obviously listening to this haven't heard like nearly the amount of toy lines in this episode, but this actually brings in another one. But as you were saying, there's this Galaxy Heroes version that has figures with the combo hero body. Now, one of these figures is also Unicorna, a combo hero figure. Now this is very
Combo
interesting,
figure, combo character, not combo hero.
right? Um, Anyway, so this is very interesting. Now, the figures that are like this are Dragoon, which I actually am very lucky to own, Unicorna, and a newbie. Now, there are a few others. There's three others that I know about, but I just realized there's a significant difference between those versions and these versions.
Okay.
The three I just mentioned, these are combo hero. They have combo hero bodies, and even some combo accessories. All of these
Oh
do
yeah.
share the same kind of accessories. But these other three figures, which are Yig, Tiger Man, and a lion character, very possibly trying to be the cowardly lion in some releases of combo, though it is not entirely clear if that's what they were going for.
It would
But
make sense. It's another connection.
it would make sense. But anyway, I just noticed that the bodies on these three figures are very similar, possibly even the same kind of bodies as Combo Hero, but they are not. You can notice a very specific detail with the coloring. The other ones have a colored belt and different colored gauntlets. These ones all use all red, blue, and green for their belt and loincloth is the same color,
Where's
and
the
then
which one's
gauntlets
blue? Which
and
one's blue?
reds.
Which one's blue?
What?
Which one's blue?
You can see blue on gauntlets for a couple of them.
Oh, I see.
Anyway,
Oh yeah, yeah.
there's another line that is just like this. This is all pro wrestling, I believe is what it was released as well as super wrestlers, which use what seems to be these bodies.
Wait. Pause. Let me see.
Also, you can look up all
My
pro
God!
wrestlers.
Holy crap! You're right. I never noticed that. Yeah, Super Wrestlers has. Wait. Oh, give me a second. Oh,
Oh, sorry, all pro wrestling champions, not all pro wrestling, just clarification.
so if I'm looking, I'm looking at it right now, and the Super Wrestlers' legs are not the same. Neither is like anything.
Well, I'm looking right now at carded
Well,
all pro wrestling champions figures next to carded the Galaxy Heroes weird Yig, Tigerman, and
the,
Lion character.
the only thing that's the same is the coloring, but the molds are actually different. They're very similar, but there's clear differences.
Like what?
So the mold, the muscle definition for super wrestlers is much more angular.
Okay, well, okay, look at the all pro wrestling champions.
All pro wrestling, can you text it to me? Yeah. So yeah,
I did.
that is all pro wrestling is the same as wrestling super wrestlers, but not the same as Combo Hero.
Mm. Well, right, but I'm not saying as the same as Combo Hero. I'm saying the same as the three Galaxy Heroes.
And not
Uh,
and yeah, the three Galaxy Heroes are the same as Combo Hero. Not all pro wrestling.
are the Tigerman, Yig, and Lion?
Yeah, they're not.
Why do you? What makes you say that?
I just told you that the muscle definition for super wrestlers is a lot more angular. It's the same coloring. This is where the podcast gets real. We're doing research
Yeah.
during mid podcast. So
Anyway, something I just noticed. Just another little note. With these all pro wrestling champions, they do have eagle belts that combo figures were released with
eagle
in I
belt
think
or eagle
what is it?
shield?
They combat.
Wait. Eagle belt or eagle shield?
Eagle belt.
What is that? Oh, like
In
a wrestling
Le
belt.
combat du siècle, le star
Like a
match.
wrestling like championship belt. I see.
Right. Which I think is the same or at least very similar to that. Anyway, we got kind of off track there. I noticed that All Pro Wrestling Champions connection. So another interesting connection with combo to the Galaxy Heroes and Muscle Warriors. Apart from that, uh, the combo hero body being used in Galaxy Heroes is in Muscle Warriors, not Galaxy Heroes, but Muscle Warriors. There were actually three combo characters that were released. That being the Evil,
How we know why?
Leopard, and Robo.
Wasn't there a
Uh,
unicorn? Didn't
no,
we find a
Unicorna.
unicorn?
No, no.
Was that Huiba?
There was a Huiba Unicorna. That is a thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother episode though, getting into domain
We
and
tried to
Huiba.
we tried to make the domain episode before.
We've tried that before. I don't remember what happened. We will make an episode on domain and Huiba at one point. That is,
That's like
which is
my
a very
favorite rabbit
interesting
hole.
rabbit hole in and of itself.
It's my favorite rabbit hole, and pretty much my favorite set of figures too.
Yeah. Anyway, uh, so there are these three combo characters released in Muscle Warriors. Probably not any others because I've seen plenty of images online of these three, but never of a different one. So, and a lot of times I've seen them together. Anyway,
But there could be more like that.
I mean, it's possible.
Not yet. So we're gonna go. We'll talk about this more later. But there's also a version of combo called Action Figures Combo Warriors that were on these kind of crazy, like psychedelic kind of 90s y cards. That had the same molds and the exact same figures as Combo Hero.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of
By a company called Juru.
yes. Anyway, so that's kind of how combo ties into all this, and again, we'll talk about that line in particular later. But now I'd like to talk about a couple advertisements I've seen for Tung Sing Toys Manufacturing, um, and the lines that connect them to kind of the same company, which brings in a whole bunch more lines. Now, the first advertisement I've seen has quite a few lines on it. This is probably, or this is even bigger than the other one that I will be talking about after. And this advertisement has a Muscle Warriors Magnon figure showing, Tung Sing, uh, supposedly manufactured Muscle Warriors. Um, it also shows a Wrestling Champs Iron Sheik, or a super wrestler, or Super Champs. Sorry, Super Champs Iron Sheik, which makes sense because this uses the same body as Muscle Warriors. Then there's World Champion the Boxer, which uh, also uses the same body as Muscle Warriors, just with boxing gloves as hands. That line's interesting too because one of the characters in the line is Combo, which again is another connection with all of this to Combo. Then there's Galaxy Heroine, which this line uh, was already thought to be manufactured or created by the same people who made Galaxy Heroes because it is the Galaxy Heroes equivalent of Galaxy Warriors, but to Galaxy Adventure Girl, which is the female counterpart to the Galaxy Warriors. Um, then there's an Adventure Man figure. Now, Adventure Man is like this Rambo uh, knockoff that is that
Which so
uses the combo head mold, and is another line that uh, is combo.
combo is
Yes,
Rambo. And Conan's also that's why it's called combo actually, because it's Conan and Rambo.
yeah. Um, and then
Combo
there are
versus Rambo. Kind of funny.
yeah. Uh, then there is a ninja and his combat master figure, which this is a very interesting line. I'd like to do a video on my channel about this line at some point, but I haven't got around to it. Which this connection will come up a couple times later in this episode as well. And then the final line is Underworld Warriors, which is a very amazing line that is cool that it was also made by this company, though it is not too, I think, relevant to the rest of the video. But then there's the second advertisement. Now, this advertisement specifically also has an early Muscle Warriors logo. We talked about this advertisement before when we talked about the minis. But this logo is a Galaxy Warriors logo, except it says Muscle Warriors. And this advertisement has three toy lines, and it's a Tung Sing Toys advertisement. Again, the three toy lines are Muscle Warriors, Underworld Warriors again, and the Treasures of Those Lost Temples Warriors minis. Now these are the little like Muscle Warriors mini counterparts released in Treasures of Those Lost Temples Warriors, not the Treasures of Those Lost Temples Warriors figures more commonly associated with the name. Though this also likely connects that Treasures of Those Lost Temples Warriors as they have the same name, just different card backs.
Is it different card backs?
Yes, there's like a gold on that on the here. Let me look it up. I don't know exactly, but I know it's
I
very
didn't realize.
okay. They have the same logo, and they
There
also
you
say figures with action. So it'd be very unlikely for these not to be the same
Yeah.
manufacturer. So anyway, that kind of includes Treasures of those Lost Temples Warriors in with all these other lines. Um, and now, kind of moving from that into our next thing, I think this is a good way to do it. Those Treasures of those Lost Temples Warriors figures, the more commonly associated one, not the mini Muscle Warriors counterparts, but the main Treasures of those Lost Temples Warriors. Um, the body mold was also used in the line Wrestling Champions. And this is a huge line that I think we should talk about. And I think you would be really good at talking about that because you have paid lots of attention to figure versions. But the
And
minis in the Wrestling Champions line have the same body mold as those Treasures of those Lost Temples Warriors.
yeah. So wrestling champions is huge. There is a lot of different versions. Most are unimportant except for um so this one specific little version. So in wrestling champs, oh
Champions.
oh,
What just happened?
a lot of figures fell. In wrestling
Uh,
champions, I only have one figure that is like this, but I think they're a bit rare, and they say instead of being stamped with Hong Kong or nothing, there's three like main versions. There's one stamped with Hong Kong, the one stamped with nothing, and the one stamped with China. Now, coincidentally, or I guess not coincidentally, in Galaxy Heroes, there is three like main versions. One stamped with Hong Kong, the one stamped with nothing, and the one stamped with China. In Galaxy Heroes, the ones stamped with Hong Kong are the best quality that they have, like the best paint, the best like looking plastic, all around the best. In Wrestling Champions, the best quality, the best paint, the best everything all around is the one stamped with Hong Kong. In Galaxy Heroes, the ones stamped with nothing are bad, but not quite as bad as the ones stamped with China. But they're still bad. And in Wrestling Champions, the ones stamped with nothing are also bad, but not quite as bad as the one stamped with China. And then the worst in both, all around with paint, with mold, or not really with mold, but with plastic and with everything, is the one stamped with just China.
yeah, so that is a very interesting connection that would, be very odd to just be a coincidence. I think it is I think just without everything else, even that is enough evidence to, lead you to believe that those are manufactured by the same company. So now we're about to get into probably the biggest piece of information out of all of this, I think, in this episode, and that is related to the company Jaru.
This is kind of
Uh,
yeah. This is kind of what like the whole episode is really about. It's like all roads lead to Drew. This is kind of the main theory right now. Is that all the lines that we're talking about are made by Drew?
Yes, and this Wrestling Champions, as we just spoke about, this is one of the lines that have a Giroux release. Now, this release is Action Figures Wrestler. That is the most common Giroux release of these figures. They're a bunch of Wrestling Champions figures just released as Action Figures Wrestler. And then there's another uh, name for these Wrestling Champions figures. Wrestler has like these colorful belts, and then this other version, the USR Wrestling Team Wrestler, which is also a Giroux Wrestling Champions line. This has Wrestling Champions figures and has a not colorful, but like a standard coloring belt.
So yeah, and so now is kind of the biggest thing and kind of the start of all this. Really, is as I mentioned earlier, there was Action Figures Combo Warriors. Now this was a decently um rare variant. I think there's a couple on eBay right now for pretty good deals. I don't know if those are still up. They were
Yeah,
like,
there's like three I
yeah.
think still selling on eBay. Very good deals. Please don't buy them. I'd rather buy them.
I got the evil of one. It was out of the package, but I have the card back still, so I can see it. Um, and so Action Figures Combo Warriors have, as I said, the like exact same uh body molds as Combo Hero, so they're pretty much um Combo and Action Figures and Drew and stuff are pretty much definitively connected.
Yeah, and these are not the only uh Galaxy whole toy lines that were released by Giroux. In this sort of action figures line, there was also Action Figures Fighters, which featured Adventure Man. Adventure Man was also released as Team Extreme Fighter. Um, there was also Action Figures Ninja, which had Ninja and his Combat Master figures. Again, these are figures that I've mentioned before. Another Giroux release for Ninja and his Combat Master was just Ninja figures. And these are Ninja and his Combat Master figures released by Giroux. Now, I didn't really have anywhere else to slip this in. This is something that um, I'm not really sure where else to put. But also, another connection with Ninja and his Combat Master is to uh, Galaxy Heroes, as there's Galaxy Heroes like oddities that have like these Ninja and his Combat Master figures or like bodies um, in Galaxy Heroes sort of randomly, and that's a kind of interesting. Like it's a China variant of Galaxy Heroes that has Ninja and his Combat Master bodies. Interestingly, uh, but back to Giroux. Then there is the other line released by Giroux related to this is Action Figures Insect Men, which Action Figures Insect Men just has Insect Man action figures, which is a line that uses accessories from Combo and Galaxy Warriors. Uh, Although neither of us have these action figures in person, and we can't tell just by looking at it, but Galaxy Heroes and Muscle Warriors also used bootleg Galaxy Warriors accessories, which, if all of this is true, if these are all manufactured by the same company, these are likely the bootleg, Galaxy Heroes and Muscle Warriors versions of the Galaxy Warriors accessories, rather than the higher quality Sun Gold made versions.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and then also just on the topic of Insect Man, if this is all true, which we are proposing that it is, uh, there is another line, very rare, called Replicator Space. which um has which is a like reuse of the Insect Man molds for like this kind of like alien and like sci-fi like space toy line. Very rare, not very many images online, but just something I thought I'd mention. And if you haven't heard of the line, which I hadn't until I think, I mean, sometime this year, there's a new line for you to learn about. But anyway, now we are going to get into something that I don't know
Wait,
if you want to
there's
read this or.
also one more thing that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay. Oh,
The
I'm
Mad
sorry.
Balls. So there's this other Giroux line that I actually got one version of, a toy from one version of, which is these Mad Balls. I can't remember exactly what they were released as, if we even knew. But there are these like Mad Ball knockoffs that are like squishy and very weird. And I have this one purple guy, and they're made by Giroux, and we know this. And that if you look at the bottom, it says Giroux. And this kind of shows off without being in Galaxy Hole. The what I'm calling like the Giroux pattern. Which is that this Mad Ball line had like 3 different versions, but were all like the same type of things. So there's one that are like squishy and have water inside, and when you squeeze them, like their brain thing comes out. One of them was like, more foam, like the actual Mad Balls, and one of them like sucked up water and squirted it out. But really, the main point here is that there's like a bunch of different versions of the same thing, which is showing up a lot in these connected lines. Galaxy Heroes has a million different versions and oddities. Uh, Combo has a million different versions and oddities. Devil Warriors has a bunch of different versions and oddities.
Which that
Uh,
is a line that we will get to very soon.
uh, what else is there? There's more.
I mean,
No, I'm just
everything. Amicable Herculean is another one that we haven't got to yet, but we will get into that.
have a
Um,
bunch of different versions, and
Ninja does Combat Master. That's a
yeah,
very. And Wrestling Champions. How could we not even, mention that, of course?
yeah, just a bunch of different versions,
You
these
know,
different
yeah.
figures, and for that to happen, they really need to have a company that is making them. That company needs to have a good amount of money, and Giroux did have enough money to do this. They were bigger than other companies in the Galaxy Hole.
Yeah.
Like they were making, hundreds of lines that aren't even in the Galaxy Hole, but
Yeah,
and they
and,
were
and
supplying a bunch of different toy stores, and so they had the money to do this.
for sure. And I mean, even today, Giroux has evolved even more since then. And now, having Disney toys and all of these, I think there's Nerf toys and I'm sure many other, big names that Giroux has deals with.
Right? Yeah, it's just that they clearly have these. They have connections. They have partnerships. That they have the images. That kind of highlights the Giroux pattern of just many different versions.
Right. Um, Now, this next one does connect some lines that I think, or that we think are important to talk about. Um, Now, this is information that we have gathered from a forum post somewhere on the internet. Now, would you like to read this, or should I?
I can read it.
Okay.
So yeah, this is it's a pretty long form from someone who worked at a company called KB Toys. Hey guys, I accidentally ran across your forum while doing some googling on some weird figures, and it looks like you have already answered some of my questions. I can add a little info on these cheap knockoffs. I worked at KB Toys years ago, and we always got stuff that was probably unsellable anyplace else. We ended up with a case that included some of the combo hero figures, though with different cards than the one pictured, which is action figure combo warriors, I assume.
Well, I actually have the pictures downloaded on my phone here. that web.
Oh,
Because this
so
this
wait,
this forum.
what cards were the combo hero on?
Let me see. They have pictures of all of
I don't know
these.
what else it could be.
No, these have the actual combo hero picture. I think in the forum, they posted this after people had posted pictures of their regular combo figures, and so this person's like, oh,
Oh, okay, I see.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so
Anyway,
those different cards and the ones pictured, along with some others from the same company. So this they're saying these all came from the same company, which is Giroux, we assume.
yeah, this is what we are piecing together.
Which yeah, and this all makes sense for them to be coming from the same company because this is the theory that we've been having, and this kind of started it a while ago.
Well, a
Um,
lot of it did kind of
yeah.
separately.
Not long after I shelved them all, we got a memo from the corp telling us to pull and destroy all of them immediately because they were unlicensed bootlegs. Along with the Combo Hero were some other series that were probably just as shoddy as these. My guess is that Marvel Comics probably went after them because of the Uncanny Master set. Um, had some atrocious X Men bootlegs and used a Magneto graphic on the cards. The other sets in the case were the Devil Warriors, which we have talked about, which connect to like other lines. Ninja Commandos, which have the same Giroux pattern, and one of the Ninja Commandos leg variants is the same as one of the combo leg variants.
Yeah, and something that I don't think we necessarily talked about, but is important with Ninja Commando specifically. All of these like Giroux, like we know for sure Giroux lines because they have Giroux on the card. On the card back, they all have this like one like kind of like image on the back, and then it says collect them all. Ninja Commandos is a line that has this. You look on the card back, it has this one image of all the figures, kind of just like posed next to each other. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it. And then above it, it says collect them all.
Right, so direct connection, direct Giroux connection.
Yes.
And Insect Man. And Insect Man had a is Insect Man's one that had a action figures Insect Man.
Yes. But then all these figures that uh, this person had were all these are all the non Giroux labeled card versions. So these are all ones that do not say Giroux. These are the like alternate releases that we have
But they
found.
are
And
all
some of these, it's really just Insect Man and Combo Hero, the ones that haven't found releases Giroux. The other ones, just through connections like this, and Ninja Commandos, we stated that connection with the card, lead us to believe that they are also Giroux.
right, yeah. And since they're all coming from the same company, there's really not another big one that it could really be other than Giroux.
Yeah.
Continuing on, I hope this helps a little. We were told to take them out to the dumpster, tear them off the cards, and rend them limb from limb. So this is terrible. This hurt us when we read it for the first time.
Yeah.
These are really rare. Eh,
And this is probably part of the reason why. I mean, if KB Toys had destroyed, so many boxes of these
yeah, and if
figures. I mean,
other
all of these lines mentioned are specific lines that are seen to be more rare than others. Combo Hero is much rarer than Combo and some of the other Combo variants. Uncanny Master, a very rare line. The Devil Warriors, very very rare. Ninja Commandos and Insect Man are also very rare lines, though I think those are probably the two most common lines out of these five.
maybe it was too hot to go out into the dumpster, or I might have been too lazy that day, but I couldn't bear seeing them wrecked.
Yeah, so this
Oh,
person they kept like almost a complete wave of like some of them there's like only two figures of, and I have these images saved if you'd like me to share them with you like either now or
it's
later.
yeah,
Um,
you can text me maybe, but it doesn't really matter to me.
yeah, I have to like screenshot all of them again because they're like saved on a thing I can't just download. But anyway, um, yeah. Uh, But now that we've mentioned the Devil Warriors here and
Want me to
how they're
talk about them?
supposedly connected, yeah, I'd love for you to get in because that's not the only connection. I know there's other connections with the figures and quality control and stuff like
Right.
that.
So, um, so Devil Warriors is one of the biggest. So, what's the word I'm looking for? Examples of the Giroux pattern. There are, I don't know exactly how many, but there's like 4 or 5 different, maybe more versions of the Devil Warriors. Version 1, which is my favorite, is the shittiest. They are they're crappy. They paint isn't good. The mold isn't good, but I like them because of their shittiness. And the version ones have the China. They are stamped. They're all stamp made in China, but version ones just say China, and the China stamp is very similar to the China stamp on Wrestling Champions, and I don't know exactly. I could try to pull it out. I don't remember how similar it looks to the Galaxy Heroes China stamp, but I do have an example of one, which I should have already tried to get out. Very tight in my shelf here. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so the China stamp is nearly like identical. Even to like the H placement, it just looks very, very similar to both Galaxy Heroes China stamp and Wrestling Champions China stamp. But yeah, so there's many different versions, and they get better. So the version 1, which looks the crappiest, there's also, oh my god,
What just happened?
Dynaman fell and hit Salacious.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Salacious okay. The throne of my Black Series 6-inch Jabba the Hutt is okay. Dynaman is okay. Crisis averted, kind of. So the version 2, or what I assume is version 2 of Devil Warriors, looks a lot better. The paint is better. The molds are even different. And it's kind of a stretch, and it's not really that much of a similarity, but it's kind of the same thing with how Combo Hero is. The way that they changed the molds, which kind of made them look a little bit more cartoony and like exaggerated, rather than a little bit more realistic. That's the same thing that the Devil Warriors had done to them on their version 2. And those say made in China, which I haven't seen that made in China stamp anywhere else. And it kind of looks a little bit different than the other stamps. But yeah, it's kind of a major
Wait,
example of the Giroux pattern.
I just noticed this. I don't know how, what if it is the same, but there is a made in China stamp on my Weird Galaxy Heroes Dragoon with a Combo Hero body.
Let me check. Oh yeah, I have Combo here, so I can check that. So they do actually look pretty similar. The difference is the made in is on top, and the China is under it on Devil
Yeah, well,
Warriors, and
so that way it
all in
can
a
fit
line.
on the figure because
Right.
they're smaller.
They do look similar. But yeah, so uh, that's just kind of, and also yeah, it's just a very good example of the Giroux pattern, which is a lot of different variants of Devil Warriors. And also on the Devil Warriors card, which both me and a man here were very lucky to have or buy, we got our Devil Warriors carded figures for very low prices on eBay. You got two
Oh
if you
yeah,
want. I think I spent 65 on
yeah, and then
it,
I would have spent double that because I got two, but we spent the
and
same each.
for kind of a comparison, anything under $100 for a loose one with like no accessories is a good deal.
Yeah, and these very rarely show up on eBay, loose or carded.
Right. It's kind of crazy too because I had just gotten a crazy deal from a different seller, and we were kind of getting into like Devil Warriors and noticing how amazing they were, and suddenly on eBay, boom.
Yeah, there were like 10 of these carded that
Yeah.
showed up,
Anyway,
and I shortly, like
so
literally minutes or seconds after we bought them, somebody else swooped in and bought all the rest. So that was
yeah,
very
they're just
lucky.
like. But anyway, yeah. So it's talking about the cards. So on the cards, they say on Devil Warriors cards, it says twisting head and waist, moving arms and legs, and playing some sorts. I don't know. Basically, like accessories. And on the which that those things that it says is just what it says on the Galaxy Warriors cards. So it's not crazy.
Yep.
That's a
Nickel, yeah, on this Galaxy Warriors card that I have, it says moving arms and legs, twisting head and waist, complete with shield, breastplate, and weapon.
yeah, that's like not a crazy thing. For to say on a Galaxy hole. But wait, is it even Galaxy hole in any other way?
Devil Warriors?
Yeah.
Well, it has direct correlation to Amicable Herculean, which we'll talk about in a second, which has a stronger connection
Like,
to God.
but like it's directly on with the figures and on the card. It's not like it's
Directly,
figures.
The Devil Warriors does not directly like bootleg or knock off Galaxy
Right.
Warriors, though it
But it
does
is
bootleg or
very,
knock off, or is of the same vein of another line that does directly
but
bootleg or knock off
it
Galaxy
is
Warriors.
very interesting that a line that isn't directly connected really to the Galaxy hole, but is in this kind of Galaxy hole uh pool of company
Yeah,
made
and
has
with
that.
this, yeah, okay, we'll get into this in just a second. Once we
Or
finish on
should I
the
you want me to yeah, anyway. So on the
well,
Devil Warriors card, it says twisting head and waist, moving arms and legs, and basically accessories. And that's in yellow under the logo. And also on the card, it has like this kind of flat, interesting, like custom logo. The top, and then under it is this hand drawn picture of one of the figures. On the combo cards, it says twisting head and waist, same as on the Devil Warriors, moving arms and legs, same as on the Devil Warriors, and then talks about the accessories, same as on the Devil Warriors, and then the vest, changeable vest, which isn't on Devil Warriors, obviously, so it can't say that, but it's in also in yellow, also under the logo, and then also on combo. Combo has like a cool flat logo, and then hand drawn picture of one of the figures uh in the line. So it's very the card is very similar. And has the same in the same order and the same color uh talking about the figures in the front. So on Ninja Commando, it says
Commandos. Sorry.
sorry, Ninja Commandos, uh it says so it kind of has these like blurbs talking about the figures. On Ninja Commandos, it says 6 styles, twistable head and waist, movable arms and legs with weapons. And if we come over here to the Action Figures Combo Warriors card, which is the Galaxy Heroes direct the thing that's releases Jiru. On that card, on the side, where it's the blurb of the figures, says 6 styles, twistable head and waist, movable arms and legs with weapons, and then changeable vest, which it can't say on Ninja Commandos because it doesn't have it. But that's another, interesting connection that it says the exact same thing, which that directly connects Ninja Commandos to Drew again without even the KB Toys connection on in the box.
Yeah, and with the KB Toys connection with the Uncanny Master, something else that I'd also mention is obviously the Devil Warriors and Combo Hero have on their card under the logo in yellow text, saying that thing. On the Uncanny Master, not in yellow text, but in red text, it says movable arms and legs, twisting head, which is a very standard thing to say on these types of figures, though I thought I'd note that it's in the color red, which there was the color yellow, so it seems like this, toy company would sometimes put it in color. Though this is, a bit more of a stretch and not one of the strong connections, I'd say. Now, on the topic of the Devil Warriors, I think it's important that we loop in Amicable Herculean and Satyr Masters from Abyss. Now, this is because believe both of these lines. No, let me just double check this real quick. If I search Satyr Masters from Abyss, try to find these figures. Well, Amicable Herculean has a variant that has the same body as the Devil Warriors. Also, Satyr Masters and Amicable Herculean have the same kind of style that the Devil Warriors has. And it would make sense for these to also be released by the same company. These lines also have here, wait, let me look at a mechanical or Herculean side. Yeah. All right. These lines also have the like crappier quality Galaxy Warriors accessories that Galaxy Heroes and Muscle Warriors would have. Specifically about Amicable Herculean, there is also the connection to this that they're Amicable Herculean figures with Ninja and his Combat Master bodies. So there are this is like what, like the fourth connection Ninja and his Combat Master kind of randomly has thrown in with these lines with the body or connection to the company. And Amicable Herculean and Satyr Masters, they share a body. And then Amicable Herculean and the Devil Warriors share a body, kind of making the Amicable Herculean kind of be the middle line between these two. Uh, Connecting all three of them, obviously all being in very similar styles to each other as well. Now, Muscle Warriors, taking it back to Muscle Warriors, Muscle Warriors has a very strong connection to the line action figure. If you don't know what this is, it's a very generic packaging. It literally just says action figure, and it was distributed by East West, which is a distributing company. Now, inside of action figure, there were several Muscle Warriors figures released. Those Muscle Warriors figures that I know of, there could be more, are Magnon, Thor, Sawhack, Minotaur, and Tiger Man, or Yig and Tiger Man. These are just the Muscle Warriors figures, but repackaged as action figure. Now, there are also combo figures in action figure, but these combo figures have Muscle Warriors body. So in the Muscle Warriors line, as we mentioned earlier, there was the Evil, Leopard, and Robo, uh, sometimes like recolored, and with these Muscle Warriors bodies instead of their one of their combo version bodies. Inside of action figure, they continue this chain. They have Eagle Man or E Man uh, with a Muscle Warrior's body in action figure. There is Cowardly Lion, which is a rarer combo figure, but he has a Muscle Warrior's body and is released as action figure. And then Polka has a Muscle Warrior's body and was released as action figure. That is not the only version of action figure. There are a couple more versions. Not all of these I really have an answer for yet. Um, There is Muscle Warriors characters with end of the time bodies. Now, the reason I say end of the time, I'll get into, but there is basically they have the Muscle Warriors Triton, Thor, Baltard, and Magnon. Now, these figures have the long legs body. This body was used in Combo before. Um, this body is also used in a line Galaxy Warrior End of the Time, which is a bootleg of the Sun Gold line Galaxy Warrior End of Time The Last Battle. This line is just Galaxy Warrior End of Time The Last Battle figures, but with these long legs, and it does not say Sun Gold on the card. Instead, here, if I go pull this up on my phone here, do I have, oh my gosh. Oh, here. Forgot I pulled it up. Sorry. I pull it up on my phone here. Instead, it says Sandy. I don't know if that's a distributor, what that company is, but there's no Sun Gold on this card. Uh, Also, these same end of end of the time figures were also released as Cosmos Force. Um, but these are kind of like bootleg of the end of time the last battle Sun Gold figures. But back to action figure, they are these Muscle Warriors figures with the long leg bodies, and most of the time they have these end of time the last battle or end of the time accessories with them, which for the shield and weapon are just colorful Galaxy Warriors accessories, and then for the armor and hat or helmet, they are these new accessories that were introduced in the End of Time the Last Battle line. Now, I don't know if this directly connects or accounts as connecting this company to End of the Time or Cosmos Force, but it is somewhat of a connection. They could have also just bootlegged these accessories and stole them from End of Time, The Last Battle, or they could have a connection to, again, these bootlegs of the Sun Gold line. And then there's one final version of action figure. This one, I think, is the most confusing and the one I have the least answers for, and that is Laser Force figures. Now, I could go in to this whole Laser Force rabbit hole, but that's kind of a different podcast episode or video if I choose to make a video on that of its own. Um, but basically, these like Laser Force figures or Laser Force style figures, which Laser Force is a line by Sun Gold reusing Galaxy Warriors parts. Um, uh, and it was released in with so many different names and cards and by different companies. Some of the like multiple of them were Sun Gold, many of them weren't. And action figures, one of the lines that just so happened to have Laser Force figures released in it. Now there are three Laser Force figures I've seen. One with silver armor, one with yellow armor, and one with one with like silver yellow armor, one with yellow red armor, and one with silver blue armor. Um. Anyway, I don't really know how these connect to the company yet, though. It could very well be that uh, they're one of these Laser Force bootleg lines was also made by this company. I mean, they have an action figure Laser Force figures released. Um, I don't think I have anything else to say.
Is that the end of the episode? Yeah, that's everything about everything.
I think so. We got through our full list.
I think we should just draw. We should just kind of, you know, conclude everything now. Um. So yeah, this was everything. This is kind of just the all roads lead to Giroux theory, really. Every single line we talked about here had, um, this Giroux pattern of a bunch of different figures, a bunch of variants between figures, mold variants, or paint variants, or card variants, or whatever, that would lead you to believe that the company behind it had a lot of money, Um, and so everything has different connections to different connections to different connections that all lead back to Jeru. And this is a pretty huge development um, in the Galaxy Hole, because this is a large portion of the mainline Galaxy Hole lines that
Yeah.
are kind of being taken up by this Jeru conglomerate.
And I'd like to point out too that maybe you're a little skeptical of this theory because really, I'd like to point out that what the Galaxy Hole, the name credited to uh, Phalos on YouTube, but these bootlegs, the whole kind of point of it is it started with Sun Gold and the Galaxy Warriors. Then Sun Gold, reused all these molds, and a bunch of other companies knockoffs and bootlegged this line, and it was a spiral of this company stealing accessories from this company, and so it is. There are supposed to be connections, right, with bootlegs and knockoffs, but in this episode, we covered many direct connections leading this, uh, wi- that lead us to believe that this is the same company. We also covered many connections that could be just your bootleg knockoff thing, though when we do present those type of connections, keep in mind that the lines we have connected stuff like that with, for example, similarities with the card, those lines we've also presented information at other points in the episode uh, that's stronger, more strongly suggests that this is the same company and not just a bootleg and knockoff. So if you're kind of skeptical of that and we're wondering, I think that's something to keep in mind as well.
So yeah, it's pretty much everything that we have to talk about in this episode. But I had a good idea that we should do. If we ever have a lot of pickups between episodes, we should talk about them in the end, because it's a figure podcast. We can have a little portion at the end of the episode.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. We could start that this episode.
I
I
can
mean,
go first.
yeah,
Or,
you
yeah,
sweet too. You've gotten a lot of great pickups.
I have more stuff that's a pickup than you do. I have more pickups than you, I think. So I
Well,
think.
I think in the past month, I don't know if we count that. I just started posting my recent pickups on Instagram. I have a few.
Yeah, but I think you should go first.
You think I should go first? Okay. Excuse me. Uh, I'm gonna actually open Instagram and see my drafted posts for some of my new pickups because I'm actually not buying my figures right now. Um, okay, so first, as we mentioned recently, I picked up that Galaxy Heroes like with a combo hero body Dragoon variant. Very lucky to get my hands on that. And for such a great price on eBay. Um, that was amazing. I also picked up a Galaxy Warriors Triton, meaning I actually just need 3 more Galaxy Warriors figures, and I have the complete set. Obviously, I still need accessories and versions, which I'm probably never getting all of, but I can wish. I got this He-Man, not like this like kind of no articulation posed like Muscle Warriors bootleg guy. I
Yeah,
have
that
not
guy's
found
brutal.
what he's released as yet, but he's
I
kind of
love that
similar.
guy.
Yeah, I love him too. There's like a maybe like kind of he looks less human. He's got like a helmet. He's just a human guy. And then there's a like kind of Skeletor or like skeleton guy. I have the human character. Um, and then finally, this is uh, I think. Oh, I don't know if this is the rare. Probably the second rarest set of this, with the Dragoon being the rarest, but it's probably the biggest thing though, which is which is a carded Muscle Warriors leopard, which we also talked about in this video, and I was very lucky to get on actually from the Zolo World website. They were selling different carded Muscle Warriors figures, and they had Leopard.
And
So
also you have Switch, and Leopard is his favorite combo character. Mine is the evil, and he also managed to get not carded but loose. This was a while ago. A Muscle Warrior's body, the evil, and what I'm saying is that he should sell me that for the price he paid for the Leopard. So then he can have his favorite combo as a Muscle Warrior, and I can have mine. But he won't do it. But everyone comment down in the comment section. #sell Jaquil the evil.
I think you're gonna get the opportunity to get it at some point. I love this figure and I want it in my collection.
Yeah. Is that all your pickups? Well, you still have, I mean,
That's my most recent pickups. I have some other stuff, but that's like over a
Warriors
month
of
ago.
the how recent was that?
How recent was what?
The Warriors of the Galaxy.
That I got for Christmas.
The
I
second.
just opened them. Yeah, the
We can go
second
that
set.
far. I think we can go that far back. I mean, just like pretty much everything between our last episodes.
3 months?
Yeah, go wild. Why not?
Dude, then I
Just say
can
like,
just keep going. Like my Tiger Man I got in that time. My Muscle Warriors Fisto.
yeah.
But I have so many pickups from the time between then and now. I think it would extend this episode too long.
Okay, fine,
You-
whatever.
I think that just makes no sense.
I wanted to include my Tiger Man in my Freedom Fighter Saw because it was so big.
That was the Freedom Fighter Sawhawk was like November, dude. We're
It was
filming
not.
this in eight. If we're filming this like at the beginning
Okay,
of
whatever.
April.
Sorry, fine. My turn. So I just recently went to San Diego. While I was there, I got a couple things. I got a Jumbo Beastman not vintage jumbo, but jumbo vintage Beastman. That thing is pretty awesome. I love it. I also got a bootleg Spider-Man. That is just titled "Toys" on the card, or I guess.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I got a really awesome like piggy bank thing. It's like big and made. It's big and vinyl. Of Atom Bomb, the Garbage Pail Kid. That thing is pretty amazing. Um, I know that Eden didn't want me to go this far back, but like, I want to. I got a Dino Man, Galaxy Warriors Tiger Man, and a Freedom Fighter Sawhawk. Those were like decently recent, and those are pretty amazing. I also got a Black Series 6-inch Jabba the Hutt from that same comic book store. That figure is so deluxe, it's so large, it's so amazing. And I was lucky enough to get the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, so it came with the hookah pipe and the railing and Salacious. And the guy who I bought it from happened to have a custom throne, which he was willing to give me for free if I bought the figure. So that was very, very nice of him to do. And he gave me, a free throne because the original figure didn't come with a throne. And then today, actually, I got a vintage Motu Gwildor with the Cosmic Key, so with his accessory. Pretty, very rare, very amazing figure that I got there. I really like him. And yesterday, I think, or the day before, no, it was yesterday. I got a Motu Snake Mountain, which is which is also pretty cool to have. It's not in very good condition, but it's just cool to have a Snake Mountain. Either way.
Yeah.
And I think that's everything. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Let me look around my display to see if I
Well,
am.
I mean, if you're going back to November, I'm sure there's a lot more you can name.
Well, I mean, if I'm,
Which I
am
don't
I?
think you should do. I think you've covered.
Yeah, no, the specific ones that I wanted that were just so big
Yeah.
were We also long legs combo unicorn. That too.
That was, I mean, technically December.
That was Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, that's everything. Also a Motu book, picture book. He-Man smells
All
trouble.
right.
It's about
You know,
He-Man.
it's April. We don't need to do a Christmas haul.
I
All right.
also got a Wonder Bread He-Man.
Oh, I got a
April
yak.
Fools.
I got a Christmas present. It was a box full of original yak faces. It was pretty crazy.
April Fools.
I ate
December
them.
Fools.
So
December Fools.
all right. If you enjoyed this episode, if you found this useful, or you enjoyed the episode, then make sure to check out our YouTube channels, because we sort of do our own videos like this on different lines, but of course on our YouTube channels it is just one of us instead of the both of us. So if you're interested in
All the
seeing,
videos where we actually show off figures and lines and whatnot.
yeah, but anyway, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, go check it out. My channel is Eden's Figure Collection.
And mine is KR Retro Figures. Also, both check out both of our Instagrams, which are titled the exact same as our channels. And if you enjoyed the parts of this episode, and in our other episodes where we're just kind of talking, where we're more talking to each other rather than specifically talking about things, then you should check out our other podcast called the David and Eden Podcast. It is on another channel called the We Talk Where's Average. On that channel, we'll be doing a couple different podcasts where we talk about, like one of them we're going to talk about like books or whatever, but the real main one is the David and Eden Podcast, where it's not it's not really planned. It's not about something specific. It's just us talking, going back to the roots of this podcast, where originally we were just going to like read Pinocchio and like we kind of just did stuff in this podcast. But we have abandoned that for more laid out episodes, but we still have a thing like that where we just kind of talk about whatever for an hour around.
Yeah.
So wherever you are, whoever you are, what did I say in the, I think I said, oh yeah, wherever you are, whoever you are, have a great morning, evening, or night. See you next time.